Yandere Simulator, the hit stealth action game coming out Satan knows when, because it seems God decided to take a hiatus for 2020. I'm sure you've heard of this game in one way or another, considering the fact that it had a pretty big amount of publicity a while ago, though that publicity was usually because of two things. One of them being the developer of the game, Alex, more popularly known as YandereDev, or the fact that the game has been incomplete for a total of 6 years now. From the time I was watching Markiplier play whatever FNAF was new at the time, all the way to struggling through college and crippling separation issues. This has been the exact same unfinished game. Objective-wise, at least. He has been adding multiple different features into the game over the last few years. However, these extra features have pretty much no impact on the game getting done. It's like giving a new paint job to your car, but your car is just an engine with a steering wheel attached that could snap at any moment. I'm not entirely sure what Sans has to do with Yandere-chan's quest for Senpai Slim Jim, but I'm sure it's important. Now, I could go on about how Yandere Simulator is never going to leave development limbo and how adding extra modes won't change that, but I'm sure we've already come to terms with it. Instead, I thought it would be more interesting to have a look into the dev rather than the simulator. Kind of get a look into the thoughts and actions of the man behind the love-driven slaughter. So, without further delay, as one would expect, the story of Alex doesn't start around the name YandereDev. Before going by this name, he was known under the alias Zeva Sefin. I'm probably pronouncing that all kinds of wrong, but we'll roll with it for now. Now, this screen name appeared to become synonymous with spamming links to his streams on 4chan. He also seemed to garner attention on Gaia, where he complained about the fact that he was unable to get a girlfriend. The reason he had given was that his face was creepy, giving these 3 photos here as his evidence. You know, the face most of us have pretty much associated with him in the game. The face I've seen so many times that sometimes I forget that right now he's somewhere in his 30s. But that's not really important. Even back then, Eva wanted to try his hand at developing and programming video games. He even tried to program a fighting game engine. However, Mike Z, the programmer of Skullgirls, a well-oiled fighting game, well, he criticized Eva's code, and because of this, he just went on a self-destructive rant, ignoring any of the constructive criticism Mike gave him and just labeling it as Mike yelling at him. Nothing really has resurfaced of this fighting game engine, but I wouldn't really expect to see anything new, especially after reading the last exchange here.
I'm not here to stroke your C, Eva. I'm here to tell you how to avoid screw-ups in the future. All I ever wanted was to meet my hero, get along with him, and have fighting game buddies who I could show my fighting game to. I can't even have that. I don't know if I'll ever be back.
Now, Eva's first attempt at an actual game wouldn't come until January 5th of 2014. On this date, Eva Sefin posted a screenshot, 30-second gameplay video, and a downloadable demo for his game titled Lunar Scythe. Now, I was a bit wary when it came to downloading the demo myself. Pretty sure that it had become a virus of some kind at this point, but I'm sure the gameplay video says what it needs to.
Are you ready for it? Are you ready to ride? When the time comes, will you be ready to die? Will you fight for your life? Will you go down hard? Will you put it on the line? Will we pull your card? Oh, did we see it like this before? No. You never tried to cut your wrist before? No. You never thought you would be in this hole. You ain't got a choice, only one.
He went on to say all of the art assets used were completely placeholder, and that the gameplay showcased the hack and slash portion of the game that would occur at night, as the main character could play mini-games on her game console and do odd jobs around the city during the day. The story of the game itself is, in my opinion, almost too edgy to put into words.
Almost. So the main character of the game, Luna, she believes that the world is full of people who don't deserve to live. Murderers, arsonists, pedophiles, the whole deal. So the game starts with Luna dying, not that she really cares. Now Death comes in and sees that she's free of sin, despite wanting to take the lives of millions of people. Death sympathizes with this, and gives an offer for her to bring him human souls. not innocent people, just those she deems guilty. She agrees and is resurrected with a giant scythe and has to bring death enough souls or he'll take her life. She has until the end of the lunar cycle to bring him a specific number of souls, hence the title, Lunar Scythe.
It's a promising story, I won't lie. It feels a bit like Bayonetta being too serious of a game, but I guess it could work. Or, well, could've. Among the praise he received, he got a bit of critique on his project. And Eva7, being the person that they are, started to spiral out about his project not being good enough and wondering why he posted it when he did. After these exchanges and him trying to sell the idea multiple times on 4chan, the project just kind of tucked itself away in development hell, if not just gutted out entirely. As time would go on, Zeva7 would go on to become YandereDev, this time bringing an unironically interesting idea. Playing a game as a yandere who kills and ruins lives just to get close to her senpai. Now, the people on 4chan actually kind of liked the concept when he shared it, so naturally they gave him feedback and volunteered to help him out. Now, if you've been paying attention, you're probably worried that this is strike 3 for YandereDev, and there's no need to worry about it. I mean, you're right, but you shouldn't be worried. YandereDev would go on to revolt against any criticism he was given, just like he did with Mike Z and Lunar Scythe. It would eventually be revealed later on that Zeva7 and YandereDev were actually the same person, when an ex-volunteer went and leaked it on Reddit. It turned him back to the laughingstock that he was before, but he still tried to defend himself on 4chan. He'd then go on 8chan to repeat the process, pandering to users, throwing more tantrums about criticism before going onto Reddit. On Reddit, he'd essentially just spam walls of text, some spoiling game details about what each character has for breakfast, as well as just complaining to his moderators about users that he didn't like. Now we fast forward to more recent times, where YandereDev is streaming video games.
Hello, I am the legendary YandereDev, creator of the famous hit indie game phenomenon, Yandere Simulator. Would you like to
and throwing tantrums together about how hard it is to delete emails. At one point, even making a 20-minute long video about the subject. The original post has been privated at the time of me making this, but it can pretty much just be summed up with this one.
Okay, now that I have uploaded 2 videos begging people to stop sending me so many emails, I am guaranteed to receive less email in the future. Time to go to bed. It's the start of a brand new day. Time to check my email. I bet I got way less than usual. Seriously?
Although, despite this long list of repetitively detrimental behavior, he still manages to hold on to quite the large following. Mainly from the multitude of content creators that made videos around his game. Big names such as PewDiePie, Markiplier, Corey X Kenshin, you know, the usual Let's Players circle. Even his Patreon is still ongoing, managing to get a total of just under 2K a month. Now, you're probably wondering what I'm even trying to get at here. Why put so much effort into looking into a guy that you know isn't that good of a person? Well, a part of me deep down believes that everyone has the ability to be redeemed. The only problem of it being how difficult it would be to do so. Think of someone screwing up as them digging themselves into a hole. With YandereDev, the more he continues to lash out at people on the internet giving him criticism and hate mail, the more he's simply digging himself into a hole. Now, YandereDev could change his ways, get a secretary to sort urgent mail from the spam, take criticisms on how to improve his code and make the game run smoother. Please, YandereDev, I'm begging, as someone who's learning code, your if-else statements are giving me heartburn. He could do all this and effectively climb his way out of that hole, but that's just it. You can try to climb out the hole whenever you want, but if you're not making a conscious effort to change, then the dirt's just going to crumble, and before you know it, you're just falling back to the bottom of the hole. I could go on about how some people dig themselves to the point where they'll probably die before they even get to see the surface again, but I don't believe YandereDev has reached that point just yet. He could turn a new leaf and listen to the tips and tricks people are giving him, and just like that, he'd be on the up and up. But the way things seem to be going, as much as I don't wish people to fail, I wouldn't count on a change in his repertoire anytime soon, although I'd really love to be proven wrong. Another thing you could probably get from this is to not repeat your past mistakes. Just break your cycle of bad behavior. Ask for help if you need it. Don't copy strike a channel for covering a trailer to a different game that uses the same Unity Store assets you said were in no way final to Yandere Simulator. But to get into that, I'm pretty sure I'd have to get into Yandere Simulator, and at this point I'm pretty sure most commentary channels under the sun have gone and covered that game's development. Or, the lack thereof. Although, I would recommend checking some of those out if you're interested in it. Keppa Kaiju and The Right Opinion both have some pretty well-made, in-depth videos on the subject if that's something you're into. But for me in this video, this was just a cautionary tale of how you should be better prepared to take criticism if you put your work out in the public. Well, that and repeating the same mistakes over and over again will screw you over in the long run. I hope this little dive into YandereDev was at the very least worth your time. If you happen to like it, consider leaving a thumbs up, or you can leave a comment telling me your thoughts, or any weird crap on the internet I should take a peek at next. And I guess I'll see you next video.